Hey guys, Ritz here. I'm gonna do a modification on a new Pulsar Xlite wireless that I got today. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open it up. It's this red one here. Essentially what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reduce the pre and post travel, which is something I learned how to do. This will be kind of hard to see, but here's the left click on one that I've modified. See how as soon as I give any pressure it clicks. And then notice here, this is your standard quality control. If I go to click it, you'll see that there's just a little bit of space, right? Just a little bit. Same thing at the right. Same thing with side mouse buttons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. I'm going to do modification. Then I'm going to put in the glass skates. So this is stock that I was going to remove because I have the glass skates that came in. So no concerns if they get scuffed up a little bit too much. But I have an iFixit toolkit, which is I'm going to be using for all this. Generally, this is used for phones and whatnot, but it works pretty good for me. So what I do is they have this little bit of a lip here, and I can get my fingernail just partially in there, under there. Like I said, I don't care too terribly much about these stock skates because they're going to be removed anyways, so I'm just going to try and get that lift best I can. Well, the stock is on there pretty good. Looks like I probably already deformed it a little bit, but I got it under, ripping that stock skate off. That's gone, a little bit of glue stuck on it. Since I have no plans to really keep these stock skates, I'm just going to stick them. Let's see what I got. I got a plastic bag here that I'll just put them on. Not real concerned. Let's take a look at what all comes here on the glass skate. Taking a look. Alright, so this has the front and the back. It is not the center ring. I was actually curious about that, so I'm glad I looked at that. So I'm going to leave the center ring. It looks like stock, from my understanding. Probably read. That probably helps to actually understand what they recommend. Removing the superglide instructions, tempered glass. They're just like any other PTFE. They can wear down and crack if they're dropped through a sharp object. They shouldn't break during normal usage. Okay. This is just a sticker. Don't use the mouse if it's broken or cracked. Does it say anything about installing the superglide? It says remove the skates from your mouse, clean the surface, attach. Doesn't say anything about the center ring. So for now, I'm going to leave it. That's actually probably something I will ask in their Discord, just because that would be kind of sad. So here we are. Going to remove the back skates. That came off rather easy. Awesome. That's what we'd like to see. Okay, so as you can see here, there's 2 screw holes in the back. That's what I'm going to be doing, is removing that. So looking for a tiny screw. I think this should fit. The iFixit kit has quite a few. Alright, so easy enough. That is 1 screw. Second screw. Got that. Done. Okay. So now for popping this off, what I did before, previously that worked on the other mouse, is I undo the back, get like a fingernail in there, start pulling it across. You get a little bit of space, right? So I have this tool here with the iFixit kit that has a flat end. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to slowly move that up the body. There's a clip in here that should detach here shortly. Since I got that side a bit, I'm going to do the other side. I just heard it pop. Got that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the other side, keep going through. Just applying a little bit of pressure. Don't want to snap it, but the clip just needs to release. That's where we're at. So that clip's done. Go back through. This side's being a bit of pain. That should be coming undone here shortly. Still not there. Got it. Cool. Just waiting for that to pop out, which it did. All came undone. Everything's okay. Alright, so body's off. So now how we reduce the pre-travel. So what I was going to do is what I did to same on my other mouse. I use aluminum foil tape. When you buy aluminum foil tape, for the love of God, don't make the mistake that I make and accidentally buy like 20 pounds of this damn thing. You do not need this much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel it. Got our scissors. I'll show you. Like, this is already too big of a cut. But what you're going to do is you're going to cut this into tiny squares, and you're going to apply it to the plungers. Where are the plungers? It's kind of hard to see, but when you click your mouse buttons here, it's this plunger right here and this plunger that goes down. That's what goes against your clicks. And then on your side mouse buttons, you see that you have these black, hard to see with this angle that I'm giving you. These right here is what presses onto the buttons. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a square of foil and make sure it's nice and tight on those, and that's what does it. Okay. Just put that on my desk. Alright, so looking at the size of that, so that's already about the size. We just need to cut it down into little squares. Alright. So cut one tiny square there. And take a look. It's still probably too big, and cut this in half again. Alright, cut that down. So this is about like the size that you're looking at. It's like size of plunger. So I'm going to attach that best I can, go on side to side. What I do is I hold down the clicks forward, so it should be easily accessible. And then going back to that tool that I just used, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click down on the sides, tuck it in, make sure it's against, and it doesn't, interact with the plunger. Because as you can see, that square, it just goes forward, but you see how it has that side piece that can be next to. I just don't want it to rub against that and give resistance, because that probably wouldn't feel good. So I just use this tool, and I use it to press against the sides. Run it across, and there you go. That's my left click. For most mice, well, at least I've only done the other one, so that'd be a bit of an overstatement since I haven't done it, but I did try 2 before, and it became like a hairpin trigger, where like if I even like briefly flex my finger, it would click. A little bit of pre-travel is okay, but you just want a little bit. You don't want it to be crazy. Like I thought it was like, oh my god, if I just even slightly press it, but you want a little bit of breathing room on it. Alright, so I'm pressing this one down. Clicking it, making sure the sides are tucked in. Like I said, with that flat end, make sure it's nice and clean. Okay. Pressing the tops. Cool. So as you can see now, I've applied foil to the front too. They're nice and square, and they're lined up, and they're sticking great. So now I'm going to do the side buns. So side buns are a little bit, they're a plus sign, right? So getting the tape to stick to it's a little bit harder, but not impossible. It's the same concept where I'm just cutting little squares. I'm going to cut 2 of those. Don't want to make sure they're too big. But we're going to just put that on the square. I'm going to do the same for the other one. And these are bigger pieces than your other plungers. Alright, so I have those set. So as you can see, they're big. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use that tool that I did before again, and I'm just going to actually like push down. And what it's going to do is I'm going to put it into the corners. So Just pressing those corners in. And this is by no means as beautiful as the front clicks, because the front clicks are just those squares, and because these are that star pattern, I could probably try and do a little bit less and just do a square and close it up, because as you can see, like when you put it around it, it looks kind of ugly on the inside. But the concern is you don't want it to come off whenever you're clicking, and I'm scared if I just do a flat square, it might not give me the result that I desire. But that didn't stick too terribly well. So I'm actually going to try that, because on the previous one I did what I was saying, where I folded it around. I'm just going to do a light, gentle square on it, and then see if I like how that goes. Truthfully, the side clicks are pretty good on this. It's just the left and the right click that I really wanted to reduce pre-travel on. So I'm just going to plug in the squares. You know what? I'll do the square and then I'll feed it down. I'll do a long strand. So the top of it will go into the square, and I'll just push it down. That might stick better. So far, so good. One of them stuck. The other one, I'll redo this tape. That one doesn't seem to be sticking. Alright, gonna press the flat end against it. Just make sure that's solid there. Yeah, it looks better. Okay, so what I did was I did a long piece, and what I did is I put the square on the plus, and then I had it anchored down at the bottom. That should be a non-issue for pressing it in. It's attached to its main body. It's not sticking anywhere it's not supposed to. Checking the buttons, moves just fine, so that should be good. Alright, so now you just get the base of your mouse and you attach it. So for this, there's two hooks in the front that it slides in, so I'm going to put it over the front, line it back up, and then the big thing is just in reverse of what we did, right? So it's make sure that front's lined up, make sure these side clips go in. Make sure your mouse is turned off when you're doing nonsense would probably help too. Cool. Everything's clipped back in. So what I'm going to do now is test the clicks. So before we put the skates back on, as you can see, it's closed up. What I can do is we're going to get the screws. Going to make sure everything's pressed in. Put the screws in, just make sure the tightness is right. This is going into plastic. This is not a test of strength by any means. I just twist as gently as I can. 2 fingers. Until I get no more room to go, and then I'm done. Last thing you want to do is strip plastic and ruin your mouse. That would suck. So same thing, just 2 fingers going in. I'll check the other one. a little bit more, just because the other screw is in. Go back, we're good. Okay. Mouse is on, testing clicks. Pre-travel has been reduced. If I do any kind of pressure, it clicks. Right click seems to be good. What I do as well as a test is I'm just going to go onto a website, just go to Google and type in double click test. Your first result or second result is doubleclicktest.com. And I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to click, you know, good 200 times, 100 each. So that passed for the left click, double checking the right click. Passed for that as well. The last two clicks that I got to check are going to be your front clicks, which feel pretty solid. Going to compare to my other one. Try to do any kind of pre-travel on it. I'll show here. It's hard to see, but I'm just going to click. As soon as I give any kind of pressure on it, it instantly clicks, which is what I wanted. This feels nice and sexy. So, last thing for me to do is, as you can see, I have some gunk on the front and the back. I'm going to clean that and use a lens cloth, and then I'm going to apply the glass skates, and this will be done. So let me grab one of those. 1 second. Alright, so for this, I just used their, off of Amazon, packs of 200. They're called Zeiss lens wipes. They're alcohol wipes. The whole point is we're just going to try and clean this gunk up and get it off, which is a pain in the butt. We'll see how the residual is. Make sure the mouse is off. For starters, I'm just going to try get a good rub down with this. Alcohol should weaken whatever residual is sticking to it, though ultimately you're probably going to have to do a little bit of just scratching it off. I know some people use the backside of sponges and whatnot. Don't have that accessible, so what I do is I just go over with my fingernail after an alcohol wipe, and generally it starts just rolling off. Not the prettiest way to clean it, but it gets the job done. Then rerun it with the wipe. Still got some residual gunk from the stock skates. I gotta say that this red color, the exclusive, is extremely pretty. I'm very excited to... I really hope I like the glass skates, because I have 2 of these mice now. I like the mouse enough that I have 2 versions of it, in case I didn't like how the skates were. This is pretty tedious. I am bringing it back to me, but just so you can see, I'm still just working on cleaning up the gunk, because that would sit under your skates that you apply, and you just... It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but I've gone this far, so why not? Alright, so this wipe is already dried up. It's pretty low alcohol percentage. Get another one. Wipe down the front some more. Trying not to press down my mouse into my mouse pad, so I'm holding it. Just changing the angle. As you can see here, I'm just tacking it from a couple different angles. It does have holes in it, so I don't want to hold it like upside down. I'm holding it aside. Not that I think it'd be a real issue, but just don't want anything falling into the mouse through the holes. That's my thought process anyways. Makes sense to my brain. Can use that flat end tool. Let's see if I can get any of this gunk. Don't want to scratch the surface that you put it on, so this is a flat end. Being very gentle with it. Seems to be as good as it's going to get on the front there. It's just working on the back. Back came off pretty good. Just rubbed my skin over it with my thumb. Seemed to get any and all residue out of there. It just kind of balls up. So I'll do the same with the front. It's my final attempt to get to be cleaner than what it was. It actually seems to be working pretty good. So as you can see here, me just running my thumb over it, as gross as it feels, I'm just currently dragging all that residue into a ball in the end there and just picking it up and bring it into the cloth that I have in my hand. Not the best feeling, it's like a whole bunch of gunk. Almost got it. We're getting there. Probably one more of these wipes. Excited for when 5 minutes of this video is just people watching me just cleaning off gunk off a mouse. That's so much better. I just wiped it down with the alcohol wipe in the front after running my thumb over it, and this surface is pretty much squeaky clean at this point. Squeaky clean. One more rub. Cool. So as you can see, after much labor, it is as clean as I think I'll get. Rub my finger against it. While it's still slightly sticky, it's smooth. So I got all the gunk off. It's just residual stickiness. And that's good enough for what we're trying to do. So we have the Super Glide. Ooh, look at that. Glass. Glass mouse feet. What a concept. Glass feet are consumable parts. Remove the sketch from your mouse, clean the surface, and make sure there's no residue. Attach the Super Glide skate. Press firmly for 2-3 seconds. So it does tell you to stick it. Paranoid about the sticky residue. I guess I'll rub it 20 more seconds. I'm nervous because these feet were like special, right? Like if I do this wrong, then I'm kind of foobarred until I get another set, and God knows if they're sold out. That's the issue with special stuff. Okay, so that's all done. Gotta make sure it is dry. Don't want any of that alcohol to cause a potential issue. So just wiping it down. little bit of stuff in that corner. At least when I share this, like, everyone will see how long this took to get the gunk off the fuel. But I mean, you're playing your skates and you want to be as even as possible, right? I know, like, this is probably just insanity at this point to make sure there's absolutely no gunk previously left over, because there's always some kind of residue. But hey, I'm crazy enough to do it. I imagine there's people out there that probably are in the same mindset. So it's just, if that's what we want to do to make sure it's perfect, let's do it. Okay. He says, for the 6th time in his life. Alright. I wish I had a better way to remove this. Maybe the backside of the sponge is the way to do this. Pretty much there. Just residual gunk in that corner. Flat end tool on the other end also has a flat pencil end. I'm just using to do the corners now, which is just getting all that gunk, that built up a layer, off. I'm amazed at the stock feet, how much junk is stuck here. The other mouse I had actually came off a little bit faster. Alright, fourth wipe. After that, I'm hoping it meets my expectations, because the fresh wipe, a little bit more alcohol, get those corners wiped down. I'm just really pressing hard into those corners. Okay. We've done it. Glass skate time. Here they are. Ooh, glass. Super glide. Alright. front. It is clean, it is dry, there's no alcohol, still drying. So I'm going to grab the tempered glass and pull it off. And then I'm going to just try and line it up in the corner best I can. Okay. Super glide. Big thing is if there's air bubbles. So just trying to push those out. Hey look, it says super glide. Awesome. Alright, we're going to do the back end now. Make sure the back is clean. Going to run my finger across it. If there's any sticky residue, double check it. Make sure there's no hair stuck to it. I just had a nice wet pad. Had a little bit of residue, felt like on the out. Okay, did that. Gonna do the back end of my shirt. Just try it, make sure it's. Should probably had a dry cloth. A little bit over the screw hole. Just use my finger to just make sure all that was gone. Cool. Alright, so now we're gonna put on the back end. Back end is just a U shape. Got that. Alright. So just gonna line that up. I'll just push it into the corner of where it's lined up. Go for the back. Tighten it to the front. Yep. My computer just go to sleep because I haven't moved anything so long. That would mess up the video. Okay, I'm gonna turn my mouse back off because I'm currently, modding it. Alright, so I said 2-3 seconds of pressure, so I'm just gonna go back and forth. If I see any air bubbles, I'm just gonna try and press it out. Just like you would on other feet. Cool, so this is up and pressed against. They did a really good job. I don't know if you can see this, but it looks like it fills the entire surface perfectly. I didn't remove the middle ring. I'm going to double check what they recommend for that. But yeah, at the end of the day, if you look at this, this is the red Pulsar wireless. We managed to reduce the pre and post travel on the side buttons. Kind of hard to see. And then we installed the glass skates. So I'm going to try this out. I didn't get grips like I did on the other one that I was experimenting with to see if I like. But yeah, we did it. I guess I'll put the stock skates on this little sheet that they gave me. Clean up my desk a little bit, but yeah. That's that. That's how you take it apart, and that's how you reduce the post and pre-travel, and that's how you change out the skates. So if you guys have any questions, I'm going to upload this on YouTube. Just leave a comment. If you like what you see, like and subscribe. I'm going to leave this uncut. Reason being is that, a lot of these videos are sped up. You guys need to see how much time it takes a regular dude to do this nonsense, and you can see the mistakes and me thinking I'm going to clean it in 2 wipes and it ends up being 4 just because I'm paranoid. Like, that's, typical normal behavior. We're not perfect by any means. I got a Super Glide sticker. I got to figure out where I want to put that. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll shut this down. I got to turn my mouse back on. Cool.